We are reached a couple minutes past the hour here, so let's go ahead and get started. As I said before, welcome everyone. My name is Bree Reynolds, and I'm the Director of Online Content at FlexJobs. And we're very excited to be hosting this webinar today with 3 companies hiring for flexible and remote jobs. The companies we have today with us are Cigna, American Heart Association, and Teletech, and I'll go into a little bit more detail about each of those companies and the panelists that we have for you in just a few minutes. I wanted to go over a couple housekeeping notes. First, this webinar is being recorded, and we will be sending you a copy of the recording that you can view anytime on the FlexJobs blog. You'll receive that tomorrow, so if you want to refer back to the recording at any point, you'll have that to do so. Also, we are going to be going through about 40 minutes or so of presentation. You'll be hearing from all 3 panelists from the companies. You'll be hearing from myself about the flexible job market. And then we'll be hosting a question and answer session for the last 15 or 20 minutes of today's event. So if you have any questions for either these particular companies or about flexible jobs in general, you can feel free to ask those using your GoToWebinar control panel. If you don't see your GoToWebinar control panel, look around your screen for a little orange arrow, and if you click the orange arrow, it should magically appear. There's a questions or chat box in there, and you can type in all of your questions through that chat box. My colleague Jen Blaze is going to be assisting me in answering some of the questions that we get about the event, so if you have any questions in the meantime, you might hear from Jen. But we will also be answering as many of your questions as possible towards the end during that question and answer session. So if you have any questions, please feel free to enter them in that GoToWebinar control panel. All right, let's get started. We're going to talk about the topics that we're going over today. First, I'm going to discuss some of the trends in the flexible job market. So if you're newer to searching for flexible jobs or you're not quite sure what's out there, we're going to be going over a lot of information related to that. Some common industries and jobs for flexible work. And then we're going to get right into the heart of the presentation, the thing that I know you're all here for, the company guest panel. We have Teletech, Cigna, and American Heart Association, as I mentioned before. They're going to be discussing their companies, their hiring, their flexible work options, why flexible work is important to them as a company or an organization, and what they look for in flexible workers. And then they'll also be answering as many of your questions as we can at the end of the presentation. We'll also give you some helpful action items and FlexJobs resources for you to use after the call. And like I said, we're going to have that Q&A session, question and answers, at the end. So just a little bit of an overview before I dive into the flexible job market. Today we have 3 panelists. We have Sarah from Teletech, Michael from American Heart Association, and Jana from Cigna. And you're all going to be hearing from them in just a couple minutes. And we'll have lots more information on each of those companies once they're doing their individual presentations here. So first, let's go over some trends in the flexible job market. For anybody who's newer to this, or just to kind of get your numbers up to date if you have been looking for a flexible job or working flexibly for a long time, when I refer to flexible jobs and when the companies are talking about flexible jobs, it's a wide variety of different job types that we're talking about. So it might mean that you're telecommuting or working from home. It might mean that you're freelancing or working a part-time schedule or a flexible schedule. So there's a sort of a wide variety of different types of flexible work options that we throw under the term flexible jobs. So when you hear me discuss flexible jobs, it's kind of incorporating all of those different types of flexibility. Who's working flexibly? Well, here's some percentages, the most up-to-date information that we have as far as who's telecommuting, who's freelancing, who's part-time. Interestingly, this number has gone up just recently. Gallup did a poll. 37% of U.S. workers telecommute at least some hours each week. And so that's a big increase over the last few years. I believe when they first did the poll in the 1990s, that was 9%. So that's a big jump up to 37% over the last couple decades. And I'm sure lots of people on this call have had the opportunity to work from home, even if it's just, a day or two or during a snow emergency or something like that. Lots more people are working from home at least a few hours each week. 34% of U.S. workers are freelancers. 12% of U.S. workers are working part-time by choice, meaning that they want to have a part-time schedule. It's not that they're trying to work full-time, but they can only find a part-time job. And that number continues to increase too as people sort of see the benefits of potentially working part-time. And then 4.7% of people in the US work from home every single day. And that means that they are not commuting to an office ever. They're always working from home. And that number's increased a lot too over the last few years. I think it was 2 years ago, the statistic that we had was 2.3%. And so now that's up to 4.7%. And this is based on US Census data. So just interesting to see that growing. And for anybody who's interested in telecommuting, the interesting thing is that 50% of people in the US have telecommuting or remote compatible jobs, which means that it's a job that could be done at least part of the time from home. So if you think about all the different types of jobs that are out there, especially some of the jobs that we're going to be talking about today, offered by the 3 different panelists that we have, where some of those, at least part of that job, if not all of that job, could be done from home. And some trends, what we can sort of look forward to in the flexible job market and flexible work. In 2013, a study was done that found that 80% of employers plan to increase their flexible workforce. In 2014, 83% of human resources professionals surveyed said that remote work will increase over the next 5 years. And by 2020, freelancers are expected to be more than 40% of all workers. So those are some trends to look forward to. If you're interested in flexible work, all signs point to lots of growth in this area. So some of the top career fields that we see at FlexJobs, this is data that we look at month over month, and to try to find out which career fields are typically hiring for flexible jobs. And we look at over 100 career fields. So these are sort of the top ones, but that certainly doesn't mean that these are the only career fields that hire for flexible jobs. So these are the ones that we see in that top 14 or 15 repeatedly. And they might change position a little bit, but they're generally always towards the top. So we have medical and health, sales, customer service, administrative, and education and training as the top 5. What I would say is that on the one hand, this does show what variety there is in flexible jobs and sort of what you can do out there in a flexible capacity, but it also, I wanted to say that if you don't see your particular career field listed here, please don't lose hope, because like I said, we look at over 100 career categories, and each of those career categories has at least some flexible opportunities listed within the career category. So there's certainly something out there for pretty much everyone or every type of career. And then some common flexible job titles, just to give you an idea of what you might find when you're searching for flexible jobs. These are the ones that our job research team at FlexJobs, we have a team of job researchers whose job it is to go out and find flexible jobs. So they're working with companies to post flexible jobs. They're going out and finding flexible job listings on a variety of different websites, on employer websites. There's a whole different host of ways that they actually find the jobs and put them on our site. And these are the job titles that they see most often. So you can see again that there's sort of that wide variety of different career fields, everything from writer to engineer to marketing, and kind of everything in between. And again, I would say that with the caveat that these are the most common flexible job titles, but that certainly doesn't mean that if your job is not listed here, you might not be able to find it flexibly. Usually, if you do a quick search of your career field or the types of job titles that you're going after, you'll be able to find different types of flexibility offered for those different types of jobs. So this is just to kind of get an idea of what's most common. All right, well, that's sort of the overview of the flexible job market, but now I am excited to turn it over to our panel. So first up, we have Sarah from Teletech. She is the Director of Human Capital Delivery at Teletech. Sarah, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Bree. Welcome, everyone. Good afternoon. As Bree said, my name is Sarah Chenard. I am our Director of Human Capital. I have responsibility specifically for our work-at-home work base across North America. We actually have about 5,000 work-at-home employees that we have working for us across 10 different clients, and it's quite a dynamic piece of our business. I've been with the company for 13 years. I started myself as a recruiter 13 years ago in our Halifax, Nova Scotia office, and have transitioned through some different opportunities to bring me where I am today. So I'm not sure how many of you have heard of Teletech. You may be familiar. We do have quite a large global presence. We've got over 40,000 employees globally. We have employees in 21 countries. We support customers in 80 countries, and we do service and support in 50 different languages on behalf of our clients. What we really do is help our clients deliver customer service experiences that will differentiate them from the competition. So we do customer service, social media, technical support, video chat support. We provide front and back office support. We do marketing. So there's a lot of different exciting opportunities and types of work that we support for some pretty exciting companies. We support cellular phone companies, some of the largest automotive dealerships in the world, a lot of health and wellness companies, electronics, technology, and some big Fortune 500 and Fortune 1000 partnerships. So there are brands and customers that people are excited to support. The great part about the flexible work and what we're talking about today is the benefit of getting to work from home. And I think that's really the employee value proposition. It's great if you've been in the workforce and you've experienced the commute, you've experienced back and forth to work, getting ready for work, going to an office, going out there in the winter, depending on where you live. There's a lot of benefits in addition to the time savings of getting to work in the comfort of your own home each day. So in teletech, we typically hire anywhere from 3,000 to 7,000 or 8,000 at-home employees every year. Right now, we're actually hiring between November and January. We have over 1,000 positions that we'll be filling through customer service and through technical support opportunities. So those are work-at-home associates that are, they tend to flex depending on the client and the position, but 20 to 30 hours a week. A lot of times there's a lot of opportunity to work more hours than that, and that can be on a volunteer basis. All of those opportunities will have paid training, and that training can be anywhere from 1 week to 4 weeks in duration, again, depending on the position that you're going into. So I encourage everyone to ask questions, check us out on the FlexJobs panel. We've got, if you go to teletechjobs.com, under who we are, there is a work at home drop-down menu, and you can see an employee video testimonial, some actual employees that work for us today, the benefits. There's a very detailed frequently asked questions. We've got the specific technology requirements in order to be able to do a work from home position. But you'll see all of those details and a lot more, and you'll be able to obviously apply for any positions through that as well. So why is work at home important? For us as a company, it offers, we get a large geography. We've got a very big footprint. We hire in most of the states. There are a few exceptions, but we have a large footprint across the U.S. specifically, and it really allows a lot of scalability. Not many companies have the ability, when you're working within the parameters of a bricks and mortar constraint or a physical building perspective. If a customer needs you to hire 500 or 1,000 people, those are huge numbers. And as you can imagine, working within the population that a community offers, or just the population of an on-the-ground support team, that can take a very long time to do. And I think that's one of the really unique benefits of having the work from home flexible work type. We've got the ability to scale up very quickly and in huge numbers. So for example, we're just finishing a seasonal position where we're ramping, supporting a client, and we've hired 4,000 people for them to over a 6-week period. So I think it's really impressive. You can have we obviously have a large team helping do that support, but people apply from home. They go through and take the assessments from home. We test out their technology and ensure their computer and their internet, etc., would allow them to be successful with the position. And then the rest of the position is conducted virtually. We do virtual offers. You do training online and via the telephone, and then obviously the work itself is working from home. So, I think for a company's perspective. And for our clients, it allows them to have flexible staffing model, which is really, I think, the most important selling point for why companies would want to have a contingency of work-at-home staff. You can align better to, volumes coming in. Customers can't always predict necessarily, depending on the nature of what's happening in their business. How many people are they going to need to support, whether it's tech support or email support or social media or chat, customer service. With a flexible work staff, you can align to those volumes and fluctuate a lot more. And again, you've got the geography and the footprint and the scalability. So I think there's a lot of benefits to why more and more people are working to this model. And I know certainly for us, it's one of the biggest and fastest growing components of our business. So I was going to offer to answer questions, Bree, but I know you're going to probably keep us together, and we'll field those at the end of the individual presentations.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sarah. It's just amazing to me how many people you hire, and like you said, the scale and the volume, and it's really impressive and also pretty heartening, I think, for people who are looking for flexible work and wanting to work from home to know that there are, that many opportunities out there just with one company. So pretty awesome.
Awesome. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. And yeah, anybody who has questions for Sarah or about teletech, please feel free to type those in now if you want to before you forget them. I know by the time we get to the question and answer session, you'll be like, wait a minute, what was I going to ask? And we'll hold all of those questions for the question and answer session also. But thank you, Sarah. And up next, we have Michael from American Heart Association. Michael, thanks for joining us today.
Howdy, as we say in Dallas. Hope everyone's doing well, and thanks for taking the time to join us, whether it be your lunch hour or it's breakfast time where you live, or it's snack time wherever you live. So my name is Michael Goldberg, and I am the Director of Talent Acquisition with American Heart Association. You can follow me on Twitter at Super Recruiter, that is SUPERRECRUITER. But more importantly, follow the American Heart Association career site, which is the AHA Life. So appreciate you having me on today. And basically, when you look at what American Heart Association does, is we're the nation's oldest and largest voluntary organization. Basically what that means is we're the oldest nonprofit out there. We're one of the largest nonprofits out there. Of course, if you can have a competitor, American Cancer Society, American Red Cross, or some of the larger competitors, and primarily we touch about I would say we have about 3,500 employees, and so when you're looking at our opportunities, you are looking at fundraisers, you're looking at other professional level positions that are non-fundraising or sales related, and people from sales can come from all walks of life in a fundraiser capacity. Of course, the higher up you go, the more interested they are in having nonprofit in your background. So basically, when you look at the types of jobs that we offer from a flexible arrangement, and we call it the home office employee, and basically what we do is you're looking at professional and managerial positions, and we have a few in our customer call center where they can work from home, but those are generally reserved for those who work the overnight shift. So we do things a little bit differently here than Sarah does, because we only have about 100 to 150 home-based employees now. Currently, we have 9 opportunities open, and you can really tell when you can be a home-based employee when it says location, they'll say anywhere in the United States. So that should tip you to know that you can work from wherever you are. Generally, we do require our employees to be based in major metropolitan areas because, believe it or not, we actually do a lot of travel in this, because we got to meet with volunteers. We have to meet with our donors wherever they live. So they do require these employees be in major metropolitan areas where they don't have to get on 1 or 2 different airplanes to make it to their destination. So in terms of the types of jobs, you're talking generally, excuse me, you're generally looking at positions, and just to name a few, these are partial some fundraising, but other professional levels where we have a new position that just opened today, a National Director of Development Innovation. So this is going to be that think tank type person. We're looking for a digital fundraising campaign manager. We're looking for someone to lead our cycling initiative that we're starting up in the next month. We're going to have a cycling event to raise money for awareness around heart disease and stroke. And so it's generally these professional level positions as opposed to teletech, where a lot of them are exempt, some exempt and mostly non-exempt, and you can pretty much, they have a lot more opportunities to be home-based than we do. But we think it's very important that we have home-based or flexible opportunities, because one of our guiding values is, we say, is to meet people where they are. And so what does that mean? It means that whether it be via the computer, by phone, but we'll pick up and go wherever we need to go, no matter the neighborhood, because, American Heart, when it comes to heart disease and stroke, that doesn't have, it doesn't recognize that this person comes from an affluent neighborhood or has, incredible health care, and have the resources and opportunities to learn more about how to prevent heart disease and stroke. We go to the at-risk neighborhoods. We go to faith-based organizations, and we're really touching these people to make sure that everyone knows that if you eat right and you exercise and you take care of yourself overall, get enough sleep, low sodium, low sugar, you're increasing your lifespan. So the goal for us is to hire these professionals that will go out and want to travel. And generally, when they're traveling, it's generally 50 to 60%. So these are I'd say these are road warriors. And the key to being successful with our organization to get a job, we want you to have a passion to work for the American Heart Association. It's not just, oh, here's another job, I'm going to go to it, but you need to be able to sell us as to why you want to go work for a nonprofit. The last thing I'll say is that the nonprofit, many people think that nonprofit's kind of easy. Well, I can tell you, I've worked in the workforce for 30 years, and I can say that the last 2 years since I've been in AHA, it is the hardest I have worked in about 20 years. And it is a very fast-paced organization. Because you are dedicated to the mission, you end up forgetting about time. It's like you're in Vegas in a casino, and all of a sudden you go outside and it's light outside, and it's actually 7 in the morning when you walked into the hotel at 11 o'clock the night before. It's a weird reference, but it's just top of mind when you lose track of time, because people are so passionate about working for the mission. And so we want you to know that this operates just like a real organization, like a for-profit organization. Our software is top of the line, our hardware is top of the line. We are very forward-thinking and strategic leadership, a very diverse group of people as well. So we hope that you will consider opportunities with us, and again, feel free to reach out to me on Twitter, and I'm even happy to share my email address with everybody. I know it's risky, but here we go. It's michael.goldberg, it's Goldberg, @heart.org. Feel free to reach out to me if you're interested, and I do respond to the emails that I get. So looking forward to getting 300 emails in about the next hour. That's it.
Thank you, Michael. Yes, I like that. I like the taking risks. It's sort of it connects with the Vegas reference too. I think it's all coming together.
Really?
Well, yeah, thank you for that information. I think it's so fascinating to me to see why different organizations use Flex, and why they might hire people to work from home, and and what that means to people, but also that connection to the mission. I know so many people are passionate about flexible jobs and being able to work flexibly, but to be equally as passionate about the job that you're doing is a really nice benefit to being in a job. So it's good to hear your passion. And up next, we have Jana from Cigna. Jana, thank you again for being here today, and take it away.
Thank you. Thanks so much for inviting me today. This has been really interesting and good to hear from Michael and Sarah, and I've enjoyed learning a little bit more about your company, which I wasn't that familiar with, so thank you. So again, I'm Jana Trevino. I'm a talent manager for Cigna. I've been with Cigna for 10 years, and I've actually been a work-at-home employee for the last 8 years. Always been in the HR and recruiting industry, and have really enjoyed my time here. But I think most people recognize Cigna as an insurance company, and really Cigna is a global health services company, and our mission is to improve the health, well-being, and sense of security for those that we serve. We provide customers with personally relevant products and services to achieve their optimal health outcomes. Cigna was actually founded in 1982. We're headquartered in Bloomfield, Connecticut, and we have nearly 40,000 employees worldwide. When we speak about flexible work, as Bree indicated, it really relates to several areas. Remote work arrangements, on demand, some part-time, and we offer all of those things. We know at Cigna that it is important to hire talent where talent resides, and I know Michael kind of mentioned that as well. So that's why it's important for us to really consider remote work, and that's one of the key things we look at. It's important for us to say, if a manager comes to me and says, hey, Jana, I'm looking for this medical director that will be responsible for utilization review, and they need to have an oncology background. What that means to me is you know what, I'm going to find the best person for the job no matter where they sit, because they can work remotely. So that's just an example of we want to hire the right person in the right position at the right time and the right location. When we look at hiring flexible workers, specifically when I talk about remote employees, there's really some important traits that we look at. So when we look at an individual, it's going to make someone successful in this type of role is they need to be able to work independently. You need to be self-motivated. You need to have strong technical skills, strong communication skills, and also the ability to remain engaged despite the lack of face-to-face interaction. Now, that might not be a position for everyone, but those are some of the things that make you successful. And you'll know, like, am I going to be successful in this type of environment? I've always been in an office setting and around a lot of people. So it's important to keep those things in mind as you're looking at those types of opportunities. At Cigna, we do offer a variety of flexible jobs, and it really varies across functions. It can range from a clinical position to a project manager to IT, you name it, there's a lot of different opportunities. What I wanted to do today is just kind of share some examples of typical flex jobs that we offer within our company. And these are specific role titles, and again, this is going to vary throughout, throughout time. So if you were to go to our website or you look on FlexJobs, one day you might see a nurse position, one day you might see a tech support position. But I kind of want to just give you an example of some of the positions that you would find. And normally when you look out on the website, you might see positions that will say location open, or there might be multiple locations listed. That's kind of a key indicator that the opportunity probably could be done anywhere. So for nurses, we would hire work at home doing complex case management, utilization review, complex case review. That role title could be a nurse case manager or a case manager. Account installation, that area supports the implementation of group products such as life, accident, and disability, and this is for both new and existing customers. We also have opportunities in application development as well as quality assurance. You might see opportunities that offer flexibility in technical support, medical coders. That's kind of a new area for us. I think a lot of companies offer remote work for medical coders. We haven't always done that, but we are now shifting that mindset, and we're starting to do more work at home for our medical coders. We also offer opportunities for medical directors. I kind of indicated that early on, but we have physicians who work from home that do utilization review and complex case review. And then we also do part-time opportunities. So on occasion, you'll see opportunities for medical assistants. And then on-site health coaches. We hire on-site health coaches to work at various locations. And these coaches actually work on-site with one of our customers. So we might have a clinic with one of our customers, and you would work on-site having direct interaction with the employees at that location. And oftentimes it might be a remote or a flexible schedule, so part-time. So that's kind of a high-level overview of some of the roles and positions that we might hire for that offer flexibility. Again, it's going to differ depending upon location, as well as the function in the business and what the needs are. But lots of really cool opportunities.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Jana. That was a great overview. And we've got a lot of questions coming in about each of the organizations. So I'm just going to talk briefly about some action items that job seekers can take as they're looking for flexible jobs, both with these three organizations and just in general for any flexible jobs you might come across. Let's get into those, and then we will go straight to the question and answer session after that. So a few things. The first is research, research, research. As you noticed from all of the panelists talking today, there are a big variety, not only in the types of flexible jobs and telecommuting jobs that are offered, but in terms of the career fields, the hours worked, the whole structure of the hiring process and everything. So it's really important to do your research, learn about remote and flexible jobs you might like, and you might even find some that you have not necessarily heard of before. There are lots of different options out there, and I know that even after working at FlexJobs for over 5 years now, there are still new types of jobs coming in that I have not heard of before. So I would just say be open to new positions and new options also. Another thing to do is play up your flexible work experience. So I know we're probably going to get a lot more into this during the question and answer session. But in terms of what recruiters and hiring managers like to see, I know some of the panelists talked about the different skills that it takes to be a successful flexible worker or successful telecommuter. But if you have previous experience doing this type of work, working flexibly or from home, add that information to your resume, your LinkedIn profile. Put that information out there, let people know about it, because it's really important that if you've been successful in these type of work arrangements before, I think that's going to look really good for your application process. And then find opportunities to practice in your current job if you don't have flexible work experience. So if you're currently employed, you know, being able to maybe see if you could work from home one day a week, or when you are asked to work from home, I know winter is coming, and I have lots of friends and family in the Northeast who already got snow this past week, or I think it was yesterday or the day before. So if you have those opportunities where, you know, you are going to be working from home because of weather or school closings or whatever it might be, really take those opportunities to shine, to make yourself known as a dependable, reliable person who can work from home. And not necessarily taking it as sort of maybe a bonus vacation day, which I think some people probably do also. But anytime you can find time to practice working flexibly, that will definitely help as well. And then BOLO, be on the lookout for work from home scams. Now, the companies that we were talking to today are completely legitimate, and there are thousands of totally legitimate companies out there that offer flexible work opportunities. There are unfortunately also lots of people offering scam opportunities out there. So some keywords to potentially stay away from. These are keywords that were designated a few years ago now by the FBI and the Better Business Bureau as being the most common scam keywords in terms of jobs. So work from home and work at home are two big areas where I know that casually during the presentation today, we're all referring to working from home and work from home jobs. And that is sort of the most common way to talk about it, but it's also the biggest way that scammers talk about work from home jobs that are scam jobs. So if you can switch over to other keywords in your job search like remote job, remote work, virtual job, telecommute job, work from anywhere. I know there were a number of other terms that the panelists had offered for the types of jobs that they're posting as well, and how to identify their flexible listings and telecommuting listings on their sites. Those keywords are all excellent, so try to use those in your search, and that will just help you avoid a lot of the scam listings. And this is really mainly when you're searching on different job search websites that you're using out there. If you are searching on FlexJobs, we have a guarantee that we don't have any scams. We actually pre-screen all the jobs before they're posted to our site. That's how we know that American Heart Association and Cigna and Teletech are all totally legitimate companies. Of course, they also have great reputations that precede them, but for some of the companies on our site that you may not have heard of before or that you're wondering about, every company and job that's listed on the FlexJobs website has been pre-screened and is guaranteed to not have any scams. So that's one of the big things that we do for job seekers, because it is, to put it mildly, no fun to deal with a job scam if you've found one. So those are a couple things to do when you are looking at your job search. And then some helpful resources you can find at FlexJobs. We have our free job search advice blog. I have to tout that as the director of online content. We have a great team of writers who are putting out new articles every day. We do about 20 new articles a week related to flexible jobs, the job search process, resumes, cover letters, interviewing, companies hiring for jobs, all sorts of different information related to flexible employment. So please feel free to check that out. We also have a free company guide, which is where you can research different companies who've offered flexible work opportunities in the past. And in that company guide, you will find not only the 3 companies here today, but over 30,000 pre-screened, pre-researched companies that have offered flexible work opportunities. So that's another great place to go. You can also job search by location. So if you are interested in finding something that is within your area or that does apply to, that hires people who live in your area, that's a good way to do it. It's flexjobs.com/search location. I know it's kind of funny to some people that a work from home job would require a location, but we might be able to get into that a little bit more in the question and answer session, because there are a lot of different reasons why that's the case. And then you can also job search, like I said, it's actually over 100 career categories now. You can go to flexjobs.com/jobs to see all of our different career categories and see what else is out there for you. So those are just some action items and helpful resources to help everybody on the call today. But without further ado, I want to get into the question and answer session. So I've got some information about each company up here on this slide, and let's head into the questions. We have a lot of them here. So the first one is, and I guess this could be a sort of panelist-wide question, and then maybe I'll start with Sarah and we can go in order of when you guys spoke. But does your company hire anyone from outside of the United States? Sarah, do you have any location hiring restrictions? I know you're actually based outside of the United States as well.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. We have quite a few people actually based in Canada that work for different corporate capacities. We've got a very big international presence. So believe it or not, we have less than half of our employees based in North America. So to answer that simply, yes, we do. Today, our work at home positions, if you were talking in terms of, a support representative or an associate, those are based in North America. However, we do have, more than 20,000 employees in the Philippines. We've got a large presence in the UK and Bulgaria and New Zealand. So if you actually look at our Teletech website, you can click on an option that says where we are, and you can actually view by country all of the locations. But certainly we do have a lot of employees outside of the United States.
Great, good to know. And Michael, what about American Heart Association?
Strangely enough, we do. We do have some international locations. Yes, we are the American Heart Association, but we do have partnerships all over the world, especially in our emergency cardiovascular care group, which focuses on CPR education, so cardiopulmonary resuscitation, which you should all be certified in. And but we have opportunities from time to time in, of all places, Abu Dhabi. And I don't know why, but we do, and it could be that they're showing more interest in learning about CPR methodology in the Middle East in that part of the world. So that would be probably primarily where it is. I know we have one person that's in, I think, Sweden And then we are looking to go into China at some point and some other Eastern European countries down the road.
Great. That's good to know and surprising.
Yes.
Michael.
Sure.
And Jana at Cigna, how about you as far as international hiring?
Yes, absolutely. So we are a global company, so we are definitely looking for talent to join our global team. We have opportunities in the UK, Spain, India, Belgium, Korea, Taiwan, Hong Kong, Thailand. I think I'm missing, Indonesia and New Zealand. So yes, we are definitely a global company and we look for talent globally.
Great, very good to know. And then the next question, we always, of course, have a lot of people asking about benefits and salary and that sort of thing. I know that because you're hiring, everybody on the panel is hiring for so many different types of jobs that it's hard to say exactly how much every particular job would pay. So that's not necessarily what we're looking for. But in general, could you talk a little bit about the benefits and how, salaries look for your positions as an hourly or yearly, that sort of thing, just general details as far as benefits and wages go. Sarah, can you cover that one first for Teletech?
Yeah, sure. So, to your point, that obviously varies by position. Our associate level position, so if you were doing tech support or video support or chat or customer service, those are typically paid hourly. So you get an hourly rate, and we also have various pay for performance opportunities. So on top of your hourly pay, depending on your individual performance, you can also qualify for additional monthly bonuses. There are other benefits, so tuition reimbursement, which works very great for a part-time opportunity, work at home, because a lot of times the reason people choose to work part-time or work from home is because, they're accommodating a student schedule or would like to go back to school, or they could be a stay-at-home mom or a military spouse. So there's, a lot of other benefits there, depending on the position again. And then, of course, we've got a lot of career opportunities, so you can move up internally. Again, hundreds a year can move into a quality associate, a trainer, a supervisor, a recruiter, an operations supervisor. And so those positions would come with a different set of benefits, and a lot of those positions would be salaried as well.
Great. So it sounds like there's a lot of variety there too.
Absolutely.
And Michael, for American Heart Association, can you talk a little bit about your benefits and wages?
Sure. So our benefits are extremely competitive. Again, for a nonprofit, people look at it and they go, really? So, and what's nice is that we have opportunities for benefits for obviously full-time, but also part-time as well. So if there are part-time opportunities, even intern opportunities can receive the opportunity to sign up for at least medical, dental, and vision benefits on the part that's part-time and intern. So on the full-time, obviously we have the standard medical, dental, vision. When people come in, they start off with the ability to earn up to 3 weeks of vacation for the year. After the third year, they can then start obtaining 4 weeks, and then after 10 years, it's 5 weeks. We have several different types of retirement plans to give them the opportunity to earn. Some programs where you just contribute, some programs that have a match, some programs where the company just provides you the retirement savings based on your tenure with the organization. So as far as our compensation is, we're very competitive. We generally pay in the 50th percentile for most opportunities, which means that we pay very competitively. Regardless, a lot of people would think that the nonprofit is below market, again, because it's nonprofit, and that's just not the case at all.
Also good to know. You're full of surprises today, Michael. I think it's all really good information that people wouldn't necessarily expect.
AHA is Christmas come early, or any holiday that you celebrate, of course.
There you go.
Right.
There you go. And Jana at Cigna, can you talk a little bit about benefits and wages there?
Absolutely. So benefits, you are eligible for benefits if you work 28 hours or more. If you're a full-time employee or 28 hours and above, you would be eligible for benefits from day one. So there's no waiting period. You're eligible for medical, dental, vision, 401k. We have a great 401k. Cigna does a matching contribution from day one. They do 100% match on your first 3% of contributions and another 50% match on your next 3% of contributions. The wage is going to vary, of course, depending upon the position and experience. Some positions are going to offer a hourly rate of pay, and then we have some positions that are, of course, going to be salaried. We do annual reviews every year, so you're eligible for an increase annually. And then we have career opportunities internally that you're able to apply for and post for once you've been in your position for a year. So when you come into a role, it's great to know that you can build and grow your career within Cigna. We offer opportunities not only to look at that, but also to gain experience and training. We have what's called Cigna University. I think it's a huge benefit where you're able to go out and say, okay, look, I want to hone in on these project management skills, or perhaps I want to learn more about one specific area. You can actually use Cigna University to really, hone in on those skills and create additional skill sets. So again, benefits start from day one. It's awesome. For hourly employees, you have 18 days of paid time off accrued annually. And if you're a salaried employee, you have 23 days of paid time off annually as well.
That's a lot of different options there. Thank you.
Yes.
And another question that we've gotten from a number of people because I think all of us are talking about telecommuting jobs in particular. So one of the questions is, what sorts of equipment do you require or provide for your remote workers? So are there certain requirements for the computer and headset and any of that sort of stuff? And or does your company provide that, or are the employees or workers providing that sort of equipment? Can they use what they already have? All of that sort of stuff. So in general, what does your company look for or require as far as working from home equipment goes? Sarah from Teletech, how about you guys?
Sure. No, it's a great question, and obviously a key part of working from home or doing telecommuting. We require you to have a computer, obviously. You need to have high-speed internet, and you need to have a 17-inch monitor. The specific technical requirements in terms of, what's my processor speed or how much RAM do I have to have and what types of high-speed internet are supported, those can all be found on the Teletech jobs. So if you go to Why Join Teletech, there's a drop-down menu that has the work @ home, and when you click on that, there'll be two tabs, one to apply at jobs and one that answers frequently asked questions. And so in the frequently asked questions, you'll see there's a technology component, and that will specifically outline. But, essentially we look for someone to have a quiet space where they can work from home in the daytime, a computer, high-speed internet, and then we, of course, do some technology testing through the selection process and the assessment process to make sure that someone will be successful in terms of the compatibility with the technology.
Great. I think that's pretty good and pretty specific. And as somebody I worked from home for a number of years now, and having a large monitor is a huge bonus. I tried to work off of my little laptop screen for a long time, and that just did not work. So now that I have a big monitor, I am much happier that way. So I like that requirement. It makes everybody a lot happier. And Michael, for American Heart Association, how do you folks work requirements for working from home or equipment, that sort of thing?
So we provide, our work from home employees several different things. They will our business technology department sends out a monitor, a laptop, a docking station, a printer to the to the home-based employee, and we also do a stipend. So upon hire, they'll receive this is all taxable, but they get a $700 stipend to work to kind of set up their office. They need to add phone lines or buy a multifunctional printer or something like that for different opportunities, because I think you only get just a standard printer from us. but then you receive a stipend for technology, especially since these folks are on the road all the time, and then a stipend to keep up office supplies. So whether that be your toner, your paper for your printer, pay telephone bills if you have the extra line. So we make sure that person is set up for success. The one thing we don't let people feel like they work from home is that they're on any kind of island, which can sometimes happen, especially when that's not, where everybody's, where most people are work from home employee, such as Teletech. Here, they're, the minority are the people that work at home base. So the goal is to make them feel as connected as possible. So obviously they have opportunities. We have Skype, which is the old Microsoft Link, where we can do video, sharing your presentations, phone calls through there. So a lot of sharing opportunities and technology opportunities for them to stay and feel connected.
That's perfect. And Jana from Cigna, how about your requirements or preferences for home office equipment and working from home?
You bet. So for home-based employees, when you're hired for a position, your manager actually goes through some onboarding for you prior to your start date. And so they begin to order all the equipment that would be necessary for you to do your job. So that would be computer, phone, headset. They'd work with you to ensure that you have the right internet speed so that you can function in your role. But all the equipment is provided by Cigna, and it is our goal to make sure that you have all your equipment prior to your first day so that when you're starting, you're all set up and connected and you can dive in and enroll in benefits and begin your training for your position.
Awesome. That sounds good. Thank you. And then sort of a related question as far as requirements go, but this one was covered a little bit by the panelists, but if you guys could go into a little bit more detail in terms of what characteristics or skills or previous experience that you look for when hiring remote workers or flexible workers, or what really sets people apart when you're looking at applications for your remote and flexible positions. Sarah at Teletech, would you like to go?
I could guess you're going to pick me first. Great. So we, again, there's going to be some variation depending on the position, but when I speak, I'm speaking primarily to our customer service, our support associates, our technical support associates. And so in terms of actual requirements, we look for people to have 6 months to a year or more of customer service experience. Again, somebody else had mentioned, one of the panelists, but strong technical skills. In terms of education, a high school or GED equivalent, although 65% of our employee base in at home have a post-secondary education. Flexibility obviously works great for the flexible work at home. We, throughout the hiring process, will find out from candidates what their availability is. So, candidates will be offered different hiring bands that you can essentially tell us, you're available and interested in working in the mornings, in the afternoon, in the evenings, or overnights. And then depending on the position, we do our best to match what your interest is with the availability of the position that we're recruiting for. And you get to accept the hiring band that works best for you. Of course, the computer and technology that we talked about. And then communication skills, you've got to do interaction with the customer, whether that's over chat or social media or on the telephone. And we actually have a really cool new line of business that's supporting video chat for one of our customers. So much like us and Michael, who just talked about using Skype, and we do the same thing in terms of, being able to have meetings and talk to each other and do presentations. But now we have employees that are working and supporting customers via video chat. So a lot of different exciting options. Of course, if someone's worked in a flexible work environment or worked in the industry before, that's a benefit or an asset. But one of the beautiful and great things is that, it's not a requirement. So we really want people with the capacity and the skill set and the competency. So, you've worked with customers, you've got the technical skills, and you're looking for a flexible opportunity, then it's probably going to be a good match for you.
Awesome. Thank you, Sarah. You are always prepared for that first question, or the first answer, I guess. And Michael at American Heart Association, what sorts of skills or attributes or experience do you guys find particularly helpful for your remote jobs?
Well, and I think this applies not only to our remote jobs, but even, our in-house jobs. And so my short answer is going to be it depends. It really depends on what we're looking for in that person in terms of technical skill sets. So obviously, the higher up the ladder, as I had mentioned earlier in my introduction, the more nonprofit experience you really need to have. But for your professional level and some of your lower level positions that can work from home, strong customer service, strong follow-up. As I had mentioned, they need to have a passion for the mission. They need to be, we look for people that have that entrepreneurial spirit, innovators, and they can bring new ideas to the table, which helps sustain us as a competitive company or as a competitive option for job seekers. Again, a lot of people think that, nonprofits, this slow-moving, non-creative, organization. It's just not. So, the key for us really isn't just about the technical skill sets. It's really about the cultural fit, right? So we look for employees or candidates that want to come in and continuously grow and develop. Employees that really have a true focus on plan and process, as well as can serve, and this is the most important one, be ambassadors for the mission, because they are representing AHA wherever they go. These folks need to be goal and results oriented, especially for the fundraisers, but even for the non-fundraising types, they have to be very honed in on, hey, how can I make, we're trying to achieve X result, how can I get there? And then obviously, people that take accountability for their actions, that come in and help establish a climate of trust. And obviously, like everybody else, the customer always comes first, so they got to come in with a strong customer service background.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And Jana at Cigna, talk about some of the requirements or skills or experience that you look for with your remote workers and just in general.
You bet. I know we only have a couple minutes, so I'm going to kind of wrap this up for you quickly. But I'm going to talk about this generally, and I touched on this when I gave the introduction. But generally speaking, when we think about hiring a flexible worker or remote employee, we really do want to find someone that's comfortable technology-wise. So you're comfortable on the computer, you can diagnose an issue or know who to go to fix a problem, the ability to work independently. But I'll also talk about competencies. So I'd say there's probably 5 key competencies that we look for that would make someone successful, and this is very general. But dealing with ambiguity, customer focus, interpersonal savvy, learning and applying quickly, because when you're working remotely, you need to know where to go to and find resources to fix a problem. And the lastly would be problem solving. So I think all of those competencies would make you successful in not only a remote position, but any position within our company. Those are kind of the key attributes that we look for.
Awesome, and well done, Jana. That was a fantastic overview in a very short amount of time, so thanks for that. I know we always try to be super cognizant of people's time. And yeah, on that note, I think that will be all the time we have for questions. I want to make sure everybody gets out of here by the top of the hour. And I also want to make sure to extend a huge thank you to Sarah at Teletech, Michael at American Heart Association, and Jana at Cigna. Thank you all so much for being on the panel today.
Our pleasure.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Of course, we're happy to host. And for everybody on the call, everybody who's attending, thank you all for attending. You will be receiving an email about 24 hours from now with a link to the recording of this presentation, so you can go over the information again if you'd like, as well as links to how to apply to each of these organizations and the information that they provided here today. So we'll have a lot of links in there for you in case you didn't catch any of the particular links that were discussed during the presentation. So thank you, everyone. Be on the lookout for that email tomorrow with the presentation and links to apply to Teletech, American Heart Association, and Cigna. And we wish you all the best of luck in your job search. Thank you, everybody, and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.